Has the US economy moved from its strong recovery from the COVID shock to a recession? The nature and timing of this shift have great implications for the global economy, especially for highly indebted emerging markets. Where is the US economy now? The evidence suggests that the US economy is not in recession. However, it faces a difficult test in the coming year as policies are put in place, most notably by the Federal Reserve, to address the sharp, multi-decade increase in nominal wages and prices. Let's examine the current health of the economy in the United States and conduct an in-depth analysis of the 6 monthly leading signs of a recession. Certainly, the US economy is slowing. It shrank in the last 3 months by an annualized rate of 0.9%, the second consecutive quarter of contraction. In the first quarter of 2022, gross domestic product decreased at an annual rate of 1.6%. Two successive quarters of negative growth is often considered a recession, but it is not an official definition. Rather, the non-partisan National Bureau of Economic Research (NBER) makes this judgment on a broader view of the economy, looking at 6 monthly indicators to gauge whether the evidence points to a significant decline in economic activity that is spread across the economy and that lasts more than a few months. First, real personal income less transfers. Real personal income has barely risen in the first half of 2022, reflecting high inflation. Equally, real disposable personal income has been declining for more than a year now. Second, non-farm payrolls. In contrast, the labor market remains exceptionally tight, with low unemployment and elevated job vacancies. There are currently 2 for each unemployed person, an indicator of a large labor supply-demand imbalance. Payroll growth added 528,000 jobs in July, bringing the US unemployment rate to a 50-year low of 3.5%. Third, real personal consumption expenditure. Adjusted for inflation, personal consumption, a key driver of growth, has continued to expand this year, rising in 5 of the past 6 months. However, it is sharply slowing from the COVID recovery, growing at an annualized rate of just 1% in the second quarter. Fourth, real manufacturing and trade sales. These have been declining this year. Manufacturing has struggled amid supply chain difficulties, slowing consumer spending and a shift of spending patterns away from goods. Fifth, household employment. Household survey indicators point to household employment leveling off since March, although it is not declining as one would expect in a recession. Sixth, index of industrial production. Industrial production was positive in the first few months of 2022 and has flattened out more recently, showing a slight decline in June. All in all, it does not look like we are seeing the broad-based weakness that we would normally associate with a recession. However, US growth is slowing as the Fed signals an assertive tightening of monetary policy and financial conditions tighten. In its latest update, the IMF slashed its US growth forecast to 2.3% this year, a drastic 1.4 percentage points lower than the April forecast, with growth projected at just 1% for next year. An important question for the world economy is whether the US can bring inflation back to 2% without precipitating a recession. This issue is closely related to the economy's productive capacity, which needs to be rebuilt. While the outlook is uncertain, it would be no surprise to see unemployment rising from the current 5 to 6% by 2024 alongside a further slowdown in activity, with GDP contracting in 1 or 2 quarters. Such a path for the economy could qualify as a mild recession. In 2001, unemployment went from 3.9% to 5.7% and was later called a recession. As such, the focus should be on a prospective recession next year, or heading into 2024, and less about whether negative growth in the first half of 2022 means the US is in recession today. In this context, the US economy needs lasting changes to rebuild its productive capacity potential by releasing supply-side constraints, supporting labor force participation, incentivizing investment and innovation, developing a roadmap for climate policy, and raising productivity.